No matter what stage of development your client's company is in, there are going to be issues requiring your service. You may be that voice of reason for them. You may be the outsider, just the person they are looking for, with no hidden agenda, no axe to grind, and no previous advice to protect. Why should people do business with you? You've got to have a very good answer for that, or you're on your way out of business. In another article, I discuss the importance of finding and owning your niche, around which you can create your selling proposition. Based on the principles of psychographic marketing, the strategy of focusing on what your clients have in common, learning everything you can about that commonality, and positioning your solutions around the issues that affect each of them. And in another article, posted on our website, we described how doing it right, realizing your full potential, which is a free, interactive strategic planning consultant in print, can play an important learning, teaching role, making you feel more at home, both calling on and selling your services to business owners. Okay, so here is another way to choose your ideal client type. Based on where they are, on their journey from startup to sale or exit strategy. Because in that previous article, which we're going to convert to a video like this one using this incredibly simple process, we suggested a vertical psychographic process. In other words, every prospect being in the same industry, for example. For example, an industry that you already know something about or have an existing credibility in, something you're passionate about. And here is another way to look at your target market, one that may help you further identify where you want to work, where your specific knowledge, skill, and abilities will have the greatest impact. How about working with startups, for example? When businesses are just getting going, everything that each of them does, is something they are doing for the first time. This is a great opportunity. And they will make mistakes. There are always going to be mistakes when creating business strategies. But at this stage, the mistakes can cause the business to fail before it even has a chance. But perhaps your specialized knowledge, that unique perspective you bring to the equation, perhaps it is especially suited to helping these entrepreneurs. I know a business coach who has conclusively demonstrated to his clients that without him, they would fail and lose everything. What have you learned or experienced to date that gives you special insights when working with people at this fragile stage? Based on what you know, perhaps yours can be that voice of experience, the voice of reason. While their excitement runs from high to low from one minute to the next, you can be the steadying influence. There are 3 principal causes for new business failures. Let's talk about them. You can see maybe how can you help them. One, and by far the most common, is a lack of experience. Can you help them with this? In other words, do you have a coachable, teachable point of view worth paying for? Another is a lack of money. In other words, they run out of money before their revenues exceed their expenses. In other words, can you help them set priorities, make decisions strategically, so they'll have a fighting chance to get over that hump. And finally, the business was a bad idea in the first place. Can you be the voice of reason? Your interactions might just help them redirect their energies and resources into a productive venture before they go completely broke. Or, how about working with business owners that have escaped the failure that's the plague of most entrepreneurs, and they're successful, they're making money, but they still need help. This is a business that has beaten the odds, moved from the weekly panic of that the payroll will bounce to one that is looking for more employees, more equipment, and perhaps a more professional management team. Is there something that you can do to help here? The business itself must build on what's working. Again, focusing on what's important to their continued growth. I mean, even though they are successful, 75% of them will still fail to outlive their founder. I mean, the average lifespan of this successful business is 23 years. That's not very long. Why is that? Maybe they lost their focus, their identity, or their vision. Maybe things were working so well they just quit doing them. Again, is this a coachable opportunity for you? You bet it is. They have already demonstrated they have a viable economic proposition. They didn't already go broke like 80 or 90% of the other startups did. If they recognize that you can be a part of their turnaround, recognize it in your manner, in your attitude, and in your focus on them, they will pay your price. Maybe you can focus on companies that have hit a flat spot in their developmental process. It happens to everybody after the money-making equation has been figured out. The founders are making more money than they ever thought possible, and they haven't started thinking about what's going to happen to the company when they are ready to step down. The business proposition is working just fine, thank you very much, often in spite of them. Even though they're living the good life, there's a lot of dissatisfaction, often just under the surface. Issues such as conflict resolution, executive burnout, lack of motivation, intergenerational conflict, and sibling rivalry, just to name a few. And there are opportunities in team building, strategic communications, employee motivation, strategic planning, and on and on. Maybe you specialize in only one of them. A particular place where your specialized knowledge has a maximum value to a particular group of business owners. There is absolutely no limit to what you can achieve working with companies just like this when they're in the doldrums. The final frontier. Maybe this is where you'll find your special market. Because according to a Wall Street Journal article recently, the next 10 years will see the largest transition of wealth and management in history. The gigantic boom that began after World War II in the United States and then gradually around the world over the last 50 years, those business owners who were successful, outlasted their competition, and got past that flat spot in productivity are now passing the torch to those who will follow them. Is this where you belong? Working with the most wealthy among us? These successful businesses have only 3 options available to them. What role can you play in this process? To achieve this possibility successfully requires insights and knowledge not likely to be found internally inside the business. So perhaps this is an area of special opportunity, experience, and advantage for you.